Okay. What's going on, LBHT crew B? What is going on?
Well, it's about to be week one, starting the NFL season this week because last week
right. Because last week was preseason.
That
And you know what? That's actually going to be our other topic that we discuss in the overtime show. Is week one the new preseason? Okay, we say yes, and the quarterbacks of week one say yes. The quarterbacks of the NFL week one say yes. It is preseason. Number one on that list is Josh Allen. Oh Lord, oh boy, Josh, man. Yes. So we are on officially week two. All right. Listen, just throw last week. Just throw that away. All right. I mean, Ravens got the win. Panthers didn't, but I think the Panthers are going to look much better this week. All right, we're going to discuss that. They're playing the Saints. The Ravens are going to be playing the Bengals, so we're going to break down both of those games. We'll be giving you our week two. Well, we are all together because we make our picks together. Be giving our picks of the week. All right, and if you don't know, we don't ever go back and revisit what we picked the last week. Okay, so if you're looking for that, it's just for fun. It's just for fun. Yeah. So let me give a couple of shout outs in the chat, man. We're streaming live, by the way, on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So wherever you're watching us, hit that like button, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. All right. We also do an audio podcast. This will go out the next day in audio form. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast, welcome. Hope you're enjoying your lunch. All right. Make sure you give us a 5-star review. All right. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Bazel is first, ladies and gentlemen. He is first in the chat. Yes, you are. Raven Ron in the house. What's going on? Raven Ron says about to be on the road, so figure I'll leave a comment. Let's smash those alley cats on Sunday. Indeed. Salute. Drive safe. All right. Will G says second. Oh, you weren't quite second, Will G.
I told you. Yes, he was. You have to say it.
Oh, you know what? My bad, Will G. You are second. Okay, Ron, you didn't say it. Zeke Hokage, what's going on? Says Jose and Brodny, what's good, unks? And everyone in the chat. We got our guy, Coach. We already cracking Coach up, man. What's going on, Coach? Make sure, listen, if you're not already, I know most of you guys are, guys and gals, most of you are. But if you're not already subscribed to Sip2 Tally Films, please go over there and subscribe. Good friend of ours, all right? He put together the Ravens Roundup, which most of you guys watch every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, that we're a part of. Okay. That's where you can, if you haven't watched the show, that's where you can find us on Monday nights. Okay.
Except this Monday night.
Yeah. Well, I said I'll poke my head in for a little bit. But
no, I thought he was canceling for this week. Man, I don't know. I'll let Coach say if that was the case or not. I thought he said he was canceling it this week.
No, I think he said he's going to give you PTO.
But later on, I think he said he was going to cancel it because there's 2 games and all that. We'll see.
We'll work it out. In the meantime, go and subscribe. Okay, go and subscribe. That's the point I'm trying to say. All right.
Yes.
Jay the 6th, what's going on? Says another Wednesday. LBHT. Yes, Lord. D Weezy in the house. What's going on, D Weezy? Says number 1, Joe Burrow. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Joe Burrow. Yes. What's worse? Because did Joe Burrow have a turnover?
I don't believe he had an actual turnover, but
what's worse? 80 yards, only completing 80 yards, or having 4 turnovers?
Getting benched. So
maybe, some might argue that they should have benched Josh Allen.
Yeah, maybe they should have, but they didn't. Okay? So Joseph got benched and they got blown out.
That might have to be the new poll. What is worse? Would you rather have your quarterback only put up 80 yards, or would you rather have your quarterback have 4 turnovers? It was 4, right? 3 picks in a fumble.
Yep.
Oh my God. Okay, what else you got here? Yolanda B, what's going on? Yolanda, thanks for coming through. Says good evening, LBHT family. Hope everyone is well. Hey, hope everything is well with you, Yolanda. Will G says, guys, good news. Health tests are all showing positive. I will be touching base with you in the next 24 to 48 hours about the newsletter direction. Have a great show. Hey, thank you. Will G has been helping us with our newsletter. We've been telling you guys to sign up. We haven't given you guys any newsletter yet. That's still in the works. But good news is you can still sign up. You can sign up anytime, right? Just go to LBHTShow.com, right under my name, LBHTShow.com. Wait about 2 seconds. You'll see a pop-up on your screen that prompts you to put in your email address. Put in your email address, and you'll be subscribed to our newsletter. And as a bonus, you will get 1,000 points. And 1,000 points qualifies you for our drawing at the end or beginning of each month. All right. And if you don't know, we do a point system just like Coach Evans does on his channel. We give away 2 prizes. The person with the most points at the end of the month, and we do a giveaway. We do a drawing for anybody that has 1,000 points. So, sign up. That's a quick way to get it. Being in the chat, watching our shows, okay, donating, all that good stuff, buying merch, all that stuff gets you points. And if you want to see how many points that you have, like Mr. J the 6 is doing right now, that's exactly what you type. ! Points. Yes. And our Streamlabs bot will tell you exactly how many points he has. See, Jay already qualifies for the drawing. All right. Jeremy, our last month's drawing winner right there. What's going on? Appreciate you coming through. Got a guy, Hendo. Was Hendo the winner last month?
No.
He was the month before.
Yeah.
Yes. Also subscribe to the Roll Pod. Also a member of the Ravens Roundup. Thanks for coming through. Living Big with Big Reg, another person you should be subscribed to. Also, Bazel and Big Reg, they both have channels, right? They also do shows together, okay? Big Reg and Ghost. So make sure you subscribe to both of them, both Raven fans, and they like to talk about comic books and all that, okay? Let's see. What else we got? Did we get everybody? Marco G's in the house. What's going on, Marco G? Thanks for coming through. Who else? Marlon Day. He says, I have to love y'all. I'm here in Cabo on vacation. We'll have to watch my 2 favorite guys go Ravens.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
And enjoy your vacation.
Yeah. Listen, you can always watch the replay. All right. Don't let us bring you down. Zaul, what's going on, Zaul? Thanks for coming through. Appreciate it. All right. We hit everybody so far. Listen, we have a lot to talk about. Not just the upcoming Ravens and Panthers games. Okay. We got some NBA news. Okay. There's been a rule change in the NBA. I call it the Kawhi Leonard rule. All right. Mm-hmm. The load management rule, if you will. All right. We got LeBron. He's trying to bring the Avengers back together. All right. To get the world title. The world title. All right. The real one. We're going to talk about that. Yeah. And our guy Israel Adesanya took another L. Took another LB. And how big was it? And how many people really care? Right. This is what we have to ask about UFC nowadays. So a lot to cover. But first, we like to start every show with a Black History fact. And B has a Black History fact for you. And I'm going to read this donation. You want me to do it now or after your Black History fact? Go ahead. All right. Let me read this for Coach real quick. I appreciate you, Coach. Says trying to get to 1,000 points. Hey, that's how you do it. And that's it. And that's what you do. You get a nice little animation right next to my face. If you're wondering how to donate, okay, because we do super chats a little differently over here. That pin link that you see in your chat box, that'll take you to our stream elements. Also, right below B, $ LBHT Show. That's the Cash App. Both ways, you leave your donation, leave your comment, and you get an animation right next to my face, or right above my face in this setting, and you get some points. All right. Okay, what do we got?
Well, congratulations to Coach. You are officially over 1,000 points. But don't
easy.
You ain't got to stop there. Okay. feel free to keep pushing. So this is going to be a bit of a repeat of a Black History fact. We have talked about this person before, but I thought we should go ahead and bring it up again because if you've been watching the show, you know that Starfield came out recently.
Yes.
And Starfield is incredible, and Starfield is live. And this might be a Starfield channel soon. But Starfield has, this is one of the main planets. It's called Jemison. It's where the main kind of capital of the game is. It's kind of the home base of the game, New Atlantis. But the reason I bring that up is because the name Jemison has its own significance outside of Starfield. It was named after Mae Jemison. who was
Oh,
born in Decatur, Alabama. Went to Stanford University, got degrees in chemical engineering as well as African American studies, and went on to get a medical degree at Cornell University, and eventually joined NASA. And in 1992, aboard Endeavour, became the first Black woman to go to space and orbited the Earth for 7 or 8 days. I believe it was 7 days, 22 hours, and 30 minutes in space. Aboard the shuttle Endeavour, and since then, had been a professor for a while, written several books, and is now in charge of the 100-Year Spaceship, which is a group that is trying to make interstellar travel a reality within the next 100 years. So Mae Jemison is a iconic and colossal figure in science and in space travel, and was again the first Black woman in space in 1992.
okay. A few things here. One, that's dope. That's dope. Second thing, I was kind of hoping the name was after my favorite author, N.K. Jemisin, but that's okay. That's okay. That's cool. Just one of the best dope Black authors out there. She writes about sci-fi and fantasy, but that's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
Maybe there's a Jemison 2 in the game. I don't know.
Yeah. So and three, I'm a little nervous for her, working on this project. The 100-year, it was a 100-year ship?
100-year starship.
Okay, I'm a little nervous because obviously, this thing takes off. She's she's already in the history book, but she's going down. She's going to be immortalized, right? But if the first one, has a mishap, I don't want to be tied to that. I don't want to be tied to that. You know what I'm saying? But yes, that's a dope fact. Salute to you. Salute to you. Okay. Before we start with our team, let's talk. Can we start with Monday night and Aaron Rodgers and his 4 snaps? It's messed up. He got hurt.
Yes. He did get hurt, and that's unfortunate. We never want to see anybody get injured ever. No. Aaron went down with a torn Achilles. I know that hits home for the Ravens fans as well. 4 plays into his debut as a New York Jet. The team banded together after he went out, though. They got the win over Buffalo in overtime, thanks in large part to Josh Allen and
yes,
and Xavier Gibson, who's the undrafted wide receiver who ran the punt back for a touchdown to end the game. But Aaron, he came out today and said he was heartbroken, and I'm sure it was a very tough thing. He's at an advanced age for a professional athlete.
Yeah.
It's going to be extremely tough for him to come back, and rehab that and get back to playing again if that's what he wants to do. But I guess we'll see. He said that he will rise again, which I thought was a weird way to say it. But I think right now he's probably thinking about coming back for that 2024 season.
Now, I sent you this tweet. I wish I would have screenshotted this. I could put it up there. That guy on Twitter is just like, yeah, we all saw him go down. We saw him get hurt, but I just don't believe he's injured, right? And that was a jab at Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers is one of those, he's one of those everything. He's one of those right-wing truthers.
Listen, okay? He's been taking more than jabs. He's been taking haymakers. There's another tweet that said, "It's okay, just rub some essential oils on it. The doctors are lying to you." Anyway, the Twitter was not kind to Aaron after this injury.
Oh man, somebody had a tweet. They're like, Rodgers after he takes Joe Rogan's vitamins and shows his meat falling off the bone.
It's not funny.
Devastating injury for the Jets. They were all in this year, and good Lord, if Rodgers would have played that game, that could have been a major beatdown.
It would have been ugly.
It would have been ugly. And the Jets showed you how good that team is, because they still rallied behind Zach Wilson, who's not. I didn't see any growth. I'll put it that way. I know it's week 1. Everybody played bad, but I mean,
I saw a W. Okay,
listen,
he was out there eating that W.
Listen, today's NFL offense wins championships, but having a good defense does not hurt. because that defense said it don't matter. It don't matter how many 3-and-outs we get. You will not score on us.
And I gotta applaud Josh Allen a little bit because, like he's an aggressive guy, right?
Yeah.
We've known that about him since his days in college. He you could even call him a little bit reckless with the ball. He came in as a bit of a turnover machine and reined it in. And he's been in kind of the MVP talk and the talk of one of the top quarterbacks in the league since then. And he went out there and he saw Sauce Gardner on one side of the field, and he committed to not throwing that way because all 3 of those interceptions went to the same dude, and his name was not Sauce.
What was it
Whitehead.
Whitehead. I saw something that said that game alone got him his bonus,
$250,000 bonus in week 1.
Nice, good for him, man. Good
Josh Allen making dreams come true, man.
Listen, I wasn't big on Josh Allen going into the draft, or the first year. He was terrible, but since then he's played great, and I became a fan of him. But man, I don't know what's going on, man. Like well, I see what's going on. He needs to cut his hair. Okay, he's got the Hollywood hair look. I saw him in some commercials. I see what you're doing, Josh. You want to capitalize, and I'm mad at you making your money. Cut your hair, please. All right, you shot your commercials and everything. Just cut your hair and go back to Josh Allen that we knew year 1 with
Aaron grew his hair out too, by the way.
Yes, and he's lost his mind.
And he lost his Achilles too.
Yeah.
So maybe keep it tight.
Yeah. Josh Allen is not trash, and please stop typing in all caps Warbone. But thanks for coming through. Congrats to your Cowboys. The Cowboys were absolutely dominant on Sunday night. All right. No, Allen is not trash. Let's not do this. You can say he's not looking that great right now, but he's shown you that he's not trash. Okay.
He does, however, lead the league in turnovers since he came into the NFL. Yes. So there is that.
Well, that is surprising because I thought it was definitely Danny Dimes.
I told you it's the difference between fumbles and fumbles lost. Daniel is definitely the least secure with the ball, but he does not lead the league in turnovers.
I said, I put that stat out how many fumbles he had, man. The whole roundup was they gasped. Like, what? But yes, he did not, to his credit, he did not lose all of them. So there's some awareness there. There's some
his teammates.
Yeah. Credit to your
teammates and if we're gonna be fair about it, because the Giants caught a spectacular beatdown from the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night, and their O-line didn't block anybody. But if we're gonna be fair, it's got to be in the back of their mind that, hey, yeah, I got to block this guy, but I also got to keep my eye out for the ball, right?
Yeah.
Because quite often they have to turn and dive. And it's not a normal thing for offensive linemen to have to do on a regular basis.
Now, again, Josh Allen, bad week. Joe Burrow, bad week. Lots of quarterbacks had a bad week. Lamar had a bad week as well. But these quarterbacks are definitely giving cover for Lamar because Lamar did not play that bad.
Yeah, no kidding. If we're looking at guys like Tannehill and Allen and Burrow, Lamar played pretty great this week. Right? No, like we talked about, it's week 1 and defenses are going to be ahead of the offenses, and the offenses have less time to prepare in the offseason than they have in the past, and it was pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Pretty ugly.
So, all right. So, about Lamar, let's get to it. The Ravens are playing the Bengals.
They are.
Look, that game the Bengals had was so bad. I don't even want to look at that tape. I don't want to go off of that tape and say, all we got to do is this and that, because I don't believe they're that bad of a team. I don't believe they're going to play that bad against us. And honestly, I don't think they can play that bad against us. All the injuries we sustained last week. Yeah. I think we could still win the game, obviously. I think we could play well. But, you lose one of our best players on defense in Marcus Williams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness. Well, I can't speak yet. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. It doesn't seem like he's going to be out the whole season, but he's going to miss a good chunk of the season.
Yeah, they're kind of hinting at that. That maybe it won't be a year-long thing, but for me right now, it sounds kind of hopeful as opposed to factual. So I mean, we'll see. But hopefully he's back sooner rather than later.
But this is a crazy thing. I like Marcus Williams, right? But I think the secondary is going to be fine overall without him.
Yeah, he brought Daryl Worley back.
There you go.
Panther.
Yeah, there you go.
Former Panther, current Raven savior.
Yeah, I think Kyle Hamilton. I think he's a little bit better in coverage than you think he is. I think he's gonna be fine. All right, Marlon Humphrey should be back. Hopefully, be back this week. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, you can like. All right. I saw the tape. All right. I watched the tape. From one side to the other.
And obviously J.K. Dobbins being out is it's going to hurt. He's a very, very talented player, but I think the biggest issue for Baltimore in this game, it's not going to be Marcus Williams or J.K. Dobbins. It's going to be whether or not Stanley and Linderbaum can go.
I don't think they're going to go.
I don't think that they are either, and that's going to be a problem. I think if they were both able to play and they could protect Lamar, and give him time to throw. That I said it yesterday on Steel Conspiracy, that if they were able to protect him, I think that they would win pretty comfortably. I think that they're just a straight up better team than Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But without those two, it's going to be a struggle.
Especially Linderbaum. Linderbaum he played great last game. He's playing great at the end of last year. And J.K. Dobbins hurts too because J.K. Dobbins gashed them last year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they don't have an answer for J.K. Dobbins. I don't know. Like I said, no, if they don't hold up in protection, if they don't change some things in their scheme, I think, if you're not quite sure about your offensive line, you got to get the ball out faster. I didn't see too many plays where they're getting the ball out quickly other than those screen passes, right?
And my thing too with that is, and it's been a common criticism of Lamar that he looks for the deep shot and he won't take check downs and blah, blah, blah. And that was a criticism of Cam Newton a lot early in his career as well. And, I see the same thing in Baltimore that I saw in Carolina. And my question was always, who do you want him to check down to? Like, they don't. Not saying that JK can't catch. I mean, but even he's not even here now. But like, you don't have that kind of dedicated receiving back. And in Carolina, as soon as they drafted Christian McCaffrey, Cam started taking checkdowns quite a bit. And his completion percentage skyrocketed and all that. And then all of a sudden, we didn't want to use completion percentage anymore to judge him. But I think that it's just one of those things where you're saying, "Hey, just take the check down," and he knows it's not a great idea if he's trying to move the ball down the field because they don't have that guy who is maybe kind of going to make a difference in that area of the field.
Yeah, I don't even see the plays drawn up for that. Like who's there? Ricard? No.
I would never check it down to Ricard. I'm just
Kolar. Like there's really like you said, there really isn't an option there. Not even saying there's a bad option. Like there's no option there. Like the way the plays are drawn up, they take a little bit more time to develop. And again, there's only game one, so we haven't seen everything, but we have to really or Monkey has to really refine some things there. And get wide receivers open fast. And that protection has got to hold up. It has to hold up. And on their side, the Bengals, obviously, they're saying the same thing. I don't know what's going on with that O-line, but they don't seem like they can protect Joe Burrow either. How many times did he get sacked? Like 5 or 6 times, I think. He got sacked a lot.
And I mean, the Browns have some great edge rushers over there, Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith.
Yes.
And I think that the Bengals are fairly strong in that department as well, and the Ravens are going to. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a struggle if those two Linderbaum and Stanley are out.
Yeah,
they struggled to protect in week 1, and it's just going to be worse without those guys.
Yeah. Shout out to Marco G for the 420 donation. Says no excuses this Sunday. We still got Lamar. Our receivers defense is still more than good. And hopefully Andrews plays, yes, but the ball got to come out quick with Ronnie and Linderbaum out. I agree. I agree.
I always love the no excuses thing because it's like no excuses, but
Yeah,
Ronnie and Linda Bomb are out, so
but we hurting, dog. We hurting.
So listen, excuses and reasons are different.
Yeah. Exactly. Nobody's making excuses. But we're right now we're pointing out the issues that concern us, and those are real concerns. All right, you have to be able to protect your quarterback, because if you don't, I mean, nobody thinks Joe Burrow is whack. He had 80 yards last week, right? Yeah. I don't think I don't think nobody thinks Jamar Chase is bad. He had 40 yards, right? So that's what happens when you can't hold up your protection.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have time to throw the ball. You can't run the ball. Like, everything falls to the wayside. So we have to hope that Owe Ojabo can kind of replicate what Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith did last week, right? Not saying they're going to beat them, but replicate that. Get pressure on them. Get to them early. Blitz. Like I like the way we play defense. Like, especially if we're blitzing and we're sending Queen. Queen is pretty good at blitzing.
Mm-hmm.
And Roquan's all over the place. So I think this defense can keep it close. I mean, we did it last year too. With Lamar out, and we kind of have a feel for what this team does. And I think on the defensive side, we'll be okay.
And the Bengals, they kind of struggle with those division matchups. They can't beat Cleveland. They struggle to. I mean, they had a couple games against Baltimore. Where they were able to go off offensively, but they've also struggled a fair bit. Even with Chase and Higgins and everybody out there, even with as talented as they are, they've struggled to get their offense going a few times against Baltimore. But yeah, I think it's just going to come down to, like you said, who can protect their quarterback best. I think that the Ravens got the rust off. They knocked the rust off of themselves last week in that first half. I think they'll be ready to go. And I mean, the Bengals, I have to assume, like you said, that you have to assume they're going to play better than they did. I know that there was bad weather in that game, but I mean, there was bad weather for Cleveland too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think they're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder and want to shut some people up. So yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a very, very entertaining game.
Yeah,
very entertaining.
Do we want to do scores now, or we want to wait until our picks?
We can wait for the picks.
All right, we will wait for the picks. And I see you guys' comments in the chat. I'll go over a couple real quick. We don't read as many comments during the LBHT show anymore until we get to the bonus time. All right, so save it for then. Or if you really need to have your comment read, if we miss something and you really have to have it read, hit up the Cash App, $ LBHT Show, or hit up that pin link that you see in the chat box. That's how you do it. Okay, that's how we do our super chat over here. But I do want to give a shout out to our guy Xavier Smith. Says, I rewatched the Bengals versus Browns game again. It was a combination of great defense by the Browns and poor game by Joe Burrow. He had his opportunities, he just didn't capitalize. Yeah, and I think that's the case with a lot of quarterbacks in week one, including Lamar. I just don't think either one of those guys are going to play as bad in week two. So it's going to be a much more competitive game, I believe. All right. Yeah. Who else we got here? Warbone says, not protecting Joe Burrow is nothing new. Joe is still going to have a high power offense. I agree. Right. Just not against us next week.
Or Cleveland week one. Or Baltimore in the playoffs.
Okay. Bloods and Otters. He said, Jose, you promised us that Ronnie Stanley's health wasn't a concern. What happened? I didn't promise you anything. and why is it a concern that he got he got rolled up on and he might miss this game? How many players do you think across the NFL, how many players do you think are going to play all 17 games?
Not many.
Right. So if he misses this game, but he's back the following week, so what? I'm not worried about that. Right. Like I'm not worried about that. Other than the quarterbacks, even the quarterbacks aren't going to play all 17 games, they'll rest or whatever. But I don't think that's a injury to worry about. And why are you so laser focused on Ronnie Stanley? Everybody's hurt. You're more worried about deflecting. How am I deflecting? right? Like,
are you not aware that players get hurt playing football?
So you're more worried about Ronnie Stanley than Marcus Williams? Is that what you're telling me? Like you're more worried about Ronnie Stanley than J.K. Dobbins? You know what I mean? Like a lot of our players get hurt, right? That's a common theme with the Ravens. Like, why are you singling out Stanley? Stanley's one of the best players on this team. You know, like I don't know if you're in that camp, Blunts of Otters, but I know a lot of people want to get rid of Ronnie Stanley. It's a stupid idea, right? Because those same people say get rid of Ronnie Stanley have no answer for who should play there. I mean, look, he ain't playing this week, right? So we'll see how Macari holds up. And if you're cool with Macari, you say, hey, get rid of.
Well, we don't even know for sure that he's not playing this week. They're just saying, they say week to week. I mean, probably not. But right. I mean, look, the best left tackle in the league is Trent Williams. Mm-hmm. He's been in the league 13 years. He's played a full season twice.
Yeah. So do you think Trent Williams isn't worth picking up? Listen, Trent Williams is an example I use all the time when people want to bring up Ronnie Stanley, because this is exactly what the Washington fan base used to think about Trent Williams. Oh, he's always hurt. Oh, he ain't worth it. And as soon as he left, Washington, back to being the most dominant left tackle in the league. Right? It ain't Ronnie Stanley. It's our staff. They need to fix this staff. I'm ready for the whole coaching staff to go. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to completely clean house over here. Right? Maybe it's bad luck. Maybe it is, and it sucks for them, but I don't want that bad luck on this team anymore. He said, Jose, you said here last week, you said here a week ago and told us John Simpson was a bigger concern than Ronnie Stanley's health. All I'm saying is you should own what you said. How am I wrong? You see, you're overreacting to 1 week. You think John Simpson is straight then? Like, own what you say. Own what you say right now. You're saying that John Simpson is good to go then. I'm saying Ronnie Stanley is not concerned. He's going to be back this week or next week. It's not concerned there. But John Simpson is still there. What's worse than somebody that he gets hurt every now and then? A player that can't play. So if John Simpson is a bad player, what do you do about that? How do you fix that? Okay. Exactly. All right. So
yeah, but he said that about John Simpson because John Simpson's not as good as Ronnie Stanley.
Yeah.
Like he's going to be the biggest concern on the line because he's the least talented player on the line.
Right.
That's just what it is.
Right.
And I think that statement probably still holds up even if the left tackle is Pat McCarty. Right?
Yeah.
That Simpson is the worst O lineman out there. So he's going to be the biggest concern.
You think you got me in some got you moment here. If the player is bad, like are you saying he's good or not? You're saying he did good, and you're trying to say he's more reliable than Ronnie Stanley. He's not reliable if he can't play. If he's giving up blocks, if he can't hold his blocks on runs, he's not reliable. So no, I stand by what I said.
Blunt's honest. Okay, you're saying, oh, you don't want to own it. That's fine. You said he's a bigger concern, but he actually played decent. That's cool. It was 1 week. Do you think Lamar Jackson's a concern? He played like crap in week 1. Are you concerned about him? Or no? Did he have a bad game?
Guys, right? Don't overreact to 1 week, especially week 1. Like we said, week 1, I think is a new preseason. Okay. I think most teams view it as a preseason. It's a long season. It's an extra game. You get an extra team that gets to go into the playoffs, right? I just don't think they take week 1 as serious anymore. All right. Let's get to the other team.
Wow. The other team.
Listen, the Panthers and Bryce Young got off to a rough start.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I don't think Bryce played that bad. He had 2 bad turnovers. I think overall he did okay.
Mm-hmm.
The defense I thought did decent, but overall there just wasn't enough firepower on the offense. Right.
Yeah.
This week they're playing the Saints. How do you feel about their chances against the Saints?
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about a left tackle who is a concern, we are talking about the right team right now. Because that O-line is still a concern moving forward. That they weren't they weren't as bad as we kind of were expecting in week one. But the Falcons aren't a great pass rushing team, I would say. So that's still a concern moving forward. The wide receivers, they weren't very good in week one either, but they were all banged up, to be fair. Adam Thielen played hurt. Terrace Marshall played hurt. Mingo was playing his first game in his career. DJ Chark missed the game altogether. But even fully healthy, that's still a concerning group. I thought that the running backs did well, Miles and Chuba. They both played pretty well against Atlanta. I thought, like you said, Bryce was all right. He made some bad decisions, but he made some bad decisions against a great safety, and kind of had to expect that from rookies early on. But for the most part, I thought he made good decisions. He made good throws. So I'm not real concerned about Bryce moving forward. It is about getting some explosion in that offense. And I think that they will kind of develop that. I think that, DJ Chark will help. I don't think he's a great player, but, obviously having him out there is better than not. Yeah, I think Jonathan Mingo, as the season goes on and as he gets more comfortable, will make some more plays for the team. Defensively, I mean, Brian Burns was all over the place. He was an absolute star in that game, as was Derek Brown. They lost J.C. Horn for what they're saying is a significant amount of time. So that's not ideal. Obviously, they don't have any good corners outside of J.C. Horn. So that's gonna be a struggle.
I want to ask you something.
Yeah,
I probably should have asked Ravens fans this too, since we're talking about Ryan Stanley being out this week, but he'll be back. Lyle Collins is on the street. How do you feel about Lyle Collins?
I feel like, look, I haven't watched a lot of Cincinnati closely, right? But I feel like if the Bengals cut you, that's probably a bad sign. It's the same way I used to feel about.
He was on the pup list. They cut him from the pup list.
Yeah, but it's the same way I used to feel about Baltimore's wide receiving core. Like, hey, if you couldn't make it in the Ravens wide receiving core, I probably don't want you in mine.
Actually, is he still playing tackle, or did he play that guard?
He was, I believe he was the right tackle in Cincinnati, I believe. You're always going to kick the tires on players, right? Like they worked out Tariq Cohen, who's missed a couple of seasons. The former Bears running back looks very like they're going to be. Well, he used to be. We'll see if he still is. I think they're signing him to the practice squad. So you always kick the tires on players and just see. But I'm not going to co-sign that. I don't know, but I don't think the talent is an issue on Carolina's O-line necessarily. I think they're pretty solid across the board. Like I said, we got to see if Ikwanu's issue is that he can't handle speed rushes, because that's what it looked like in the preseason. Now, if that's the case, then I mean that's a bigger issue than signing Lyle Collins can solve. Right? That's we got to draft another left tackle issue. But hopefully that's not it. Hopefully it was just kind of the still trying to get on the same page, still trying to fully figure out this offense. And I know that that's what it was a few times, at least in the preseason, just, getting their signals crossed, and he went to block the wrong person, and that was that. Yeah. So I think for right now, they're still a young O-line. They're a very young offense. They're an inexperienced offense in terms of playing together. They have 7 out of the 11 guys are brand new starters in Carolina. Guys who were not on the team last year. So it's going to take some time for them to gel. So I think that they just need to let them play together for a few weeks and see if they improve. I
agree. But we all agree Aaron Duncan over on Unnecessary Bluntness. I was watching his stream. He says the same thing. I know Rashad and Dave feel the same way. They need some firepower. They need some talent in the wide receiver. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it would be really nice to have a guy like DJ Moore right now.
Yeah, man. I know. But okay, we've talked about possibly trading for Mike Evans, possibly trading for T. Higgins. Now that Aaron Rodgers, he's out for the year. It's still early. You have to wait 2 or 3 weeks. The Jets are still hopeful because they got that first win. After a few weeks, maybe they see it's not quite working out, and they're ready to let go of some of Aaron Rodgers' friends because they don't feel like Aaron Rodgers is coming back. How do you feel about Allen Lazard, B?
I feel like, you know, I wish him the best of luck in New York. Man. Like honestly, I hope he has a fantastic season. You know, I have no reason to think anything other than he's a good dude. You know, and then just man, ball out, Allen. But we were talking about Carolina getting some firepower on offense. Like I said, they need to be calling Cincinnati and just see what it would take to get T. Higgins. See if they're open to the idea yet because his contract is up. They just made Burrow the highest paid player of all time. They're about to make Jamar Chase probably the highest paid wide receiver of all time. They're probably not going to pay T. Higgins. Right? So, you know, go call him up, see what it'll take. And, you know, if they're not willing to do that yet, just, you know, there's 30 other teams you got to call.
Yeah. Yeah. So for this game, listen, New Orleans they didn't look great in their win, right? So they have a lot of talent on paper, but you know, Derek Carr doesn't look good. Yeah, and again, it's week one. I expect a lot of these guys to play better, but again, I expect Bryce Young to play better. I just think this coaching staff is too good for you guys to be like really bad this year.
Well, and you know, along those same lines, the Saints coaching staff is too bad for them to just win every game you think they're going to win, right?
Yes.
I mean, that dude. I mean, I don't want to wish, you know, him getting fired on him or anything like that. You know, I mean, he's probably a nice enough guy, but terrible head coach, man. Just a terrible head coach. So I'm feeling good about Carolina's chances on Monday. It is a must win for Carolina. They can't go down 2 games in division in what's going to be a tight division race because realistically, you're probably none of those teams are going to be in the mix for a wild card, most likely.
Yeah, we didn't bring this up in the Ravens segment. The Bengals lost to a division rival week 1. If they go down 0-2,
they can bury. I mean, you know, Cincinnati has the talent and everything to come back from that, but you can put them in a hole.
Oh man, yeah. I think even if the Panthers lose this game, like I don't think that division is strong enough to where you can look at it, you know, 2 weeks in and say, well, we're not going to catch anybody, you know.
Look, it's not a death sentence. It's just Carolina's not a great team, so you can't really expect them to go on a tear and catch people. You know what I'm saying? So like, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're 2 games back and you have to catch somebody, because again, you know, they'd be 2 games back at the Saints already. The Falcons won, obviously, week 1 because they played Carolina. If they win their game, you'll be two games back of them. Tampa Bay, they won week 1. If they win, you'll be 2 games back of them. It'll be difficult, and you don't want to put yourself in that position.
True. But I do feel good about this game for Panthers as well. We'll hold our picks till the week 2 picks. We'll give our prediction and our scores for these games as well. All right. Anything else we want to add to it? Listen, JC Horn, how long is he going to be out for?
They just said a significant amount of time. I mean, and like honestly, I hate to. I don't even like talking about JC Horn because I just get mad. Like, and it's not his fault. He didn't draft himself, but they passed up on great players. I want players to take him.
Yes, I want to be careful what we say about JC Horn because word on the street is he created a burner account and he is taking shots. He is taking shots at people. He's getting personal. I'm just like, I listen. I don't want no problems here. Okay, JC Horn, we love you over here. All right, just.
But it's 3 years, 3 major injuries for JC Horn. Yeah, and it just doesn't. It feels like it feels like it's not working. But obviously, that kind of stuff can turn itself around. He's a talented player. He's a good corner when he plays, but he's not on the field enough. And it hurts because of the guys that they passed up to take him. Right? You know, they wouldn't have a left tackle issue if they had drafted Rashawn Slater. You know, I mean, I still think they should have drafted Justin Fields but it is what it is.
Listen, the answer is just
Micah Parsons was there for them to take as well. You could be pairing him with Brian Burns right now.
No, listen. It's not the injuries. Why we're sitting here saying bad pick, because we did a whole video on this, right? A whole segment on why he was the wrong pick. They said it's who you passed up for it. Yeah. It's he's out and you're realizing he doesn't really make a difference, right? If he was in, I mean, yes, it helps because he's we assume he's a good corner, but he's not a big enough factor to where you're just like, man, 3 years he's hurt and this is why we're losing so many games. You know what I'm saying?
And the reality is no corner makes that big of a difference, which is why you don't take corner in that spot when you have a need at quarterback and a need at left tackle.
Yes, when you have a need, yes.
And even a need at edge rusher. I'll take the edge rusher over a corner. But it was Justin Fields, it was Rashawn Slater, it was Devontae Smith, it was Michael Parsons. There were a lot of guys who they could have taken in that spot over JC. Even Pat Surtain, who plays corner, you could have taken him over JC Horn. He's been he's worked out better so far than JC has in Carolina. So it's disappointing when you're picking that high. Good news for Panthers fans is they pick that high quite often. So
listen, they
have
got
another shot at it in 2 years maybe.
The old regime made these bad picks. I mean, Fitterer is still there, but you got your quarterback now. I really feel good about Bryce Young. It's going to be, listen, the growing pains that you're going through now, you should have went through last year.
A couple of years ago with Fields, and then you'd still have DJ Moore. Excuse me. At least in theory, you'd still have Christian McCaffrey. You wouldn't have a reason to trade him at that point. But now you traded McCaffrey for picks. In part to make up for picks that you traded away for Sam Darnold, pick you used on Matt Corral, picks you traded for Baker Mayfield. So it's just a domino effect from it's bad decision leads to bad decision to desperation.
There you go, Agent E on your side. Okay, Agent E don't make bad picks.
Thank you, Agent.
All right. So we get to the week 2 picks. We'll give you our score predictions there. Do we want to go to that next, or do we want to do submitted questions?
Do the submitted questions real quick. We only have a couple questions this week, so we'll get to those. First up, I got Jeremy. Who is going to be the Jets quarterback, Zach Wilson, or will they trade for somebody else?
Zach Wilson. I mean, trade for who?
I'm sure there's somebody out there available. I bet you Tennessee will give you Ryan Tannehill.
They're going to trade for somebody for a backup, but I think they're going to go with Zach Wilson.
I don't even think they're going to trade for a backup. I think they'll just sign somebody who's out there.
Yeah, I thought this coaching staff was out on Zach Wilson last year, but true to their word, it's like, no, he's our quarterback for the future. He just needs some more time, and I can respect that. A lot of coaches say that. That's coach speak most of the time. They don't really mean it, but in this case, I think they do mean it. I think the plan was Aaron Rodgers is going to play here for a year or two. We're going to try to make a Super Bowl run, and then when he's done, Zach Wilson will be where we need him to be.
I'll tell you what, he definitely means it now. Even if he didn't mean it a couple of weeks ago, he means it today.
And Zach Wilson didn't look great, but he did not look like last year,
like Josh Allen. No, he I think it's definitely going to be Zach Wilson until he gets benched, because he is getting benched. But they're not going to try and replace him right now. They're going to let him hang himself, and then they'll bring somebody else in there. Tannehill is done, Jeremy. I'm just saying, like, he's somebody you could probably get. You could probably get like Jacoby Brissett out of Washington. Just off the top of my head, I can't think of a lot of guys, but
Jameis,
you call around.
Hendo was saying,
there are guys who can be had. They can go and sign Carson Wentz if anybody actually liked Carson Wentz. They can go sign Joe Flacco. There you go. You can go sign Joe Flacco back.
Yeah.
But no, it's going to be Zach Wilson, and then once he loses them 2 or 3 in a row, they'll try and figure something else out.
Yeah. I think with the talent that they acquired on this team, they want to go with somebody who will play it safe. They're going to see Zach Wilson can go out there and not make mistakes. So that's all he has to do this year. They're not going to ask him to do anything crazy. Protect the football, right? And they can still be a playoff team.
His one Achilles heel.
Yeah. And they don't have a first round pick next year.
Hey,
right?
listen. Well, they do. But the thing is, it's tied up in the Aaron Rodgers trade. So they have their first and second, but they can't trade either because it's a conditional trade. Now they know that Aaron isn't going to play 65% of the snaps, but they don't actually kind of conclude that, until the end of the season. So they can't trade either their first or second.
No, I'm not talking about for trading. I'm just talking about for having one. Like they decide,
they're gonna have their first round pick.
So it's
gonna be a second for Aaron Rodgers.
Can you imagine? B, if they just decided right now, we're doing a fire sale, like it is what it is, on offense, not defense. We keep the defense together, and they're in the Caleb Williams.
I don't think they can get bad enough. The team is too good. Hey, I bet Baltimore would take a third for Tyler Huntley. Y'all keep telling me he's good.
Well, we were trying to get it first. Now, Warbone, this is interesting. He says Carson Wentz.
No, I mentioned Carson Wentz. It's just nobody likes him.
Yeah,
I don't like to describe people this way, but he is toxic.
Yes. We don't throw that T word out there too often, but man, he has to be toxic, right?
Yeah, he's like 27 or whatever, right? And unemployed.
The true meaning of toxic, the true meaning of locker room cancer, right? I a lot of times when they say that, I think it's BS. Oh, he's a cancer in the locker room, or he's a distraction and all that stuff, right? That's just BS, right? Like you're a grown man, deal with some strong personalities. But you have Carson Wentz, who was good, right? Have a Philly team, trade him to Indy, and then a year later they trade him to Washington.
He wasn't even bad in Indy. He had 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Now, granted, they were some of the most poorly timed interceptions I've ever seen.
But it was only 7. It was only 7.
But right? Still, like he has ability.
Yeah. And then after a year, they're like, bye-bye, go to Washington. Yeah. And then, you saw what Ron Rivera said about that quarterback. Right. And then that was it.
Look into the windows of my soul and you will find your answer.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz.
And look, it was already reported that, he's just hard to work with. He's hard, for coaches to work with. He doesn't take accountability for anything. He's just not coachable, and that's got to be evident because nobody's picking him up right now.
Nobody wants to coach him.
Nobody wants to coach him.
He was a top pick who was in the MVP discussion. A lot of people say was leading the MVP race that year. He got hurt the year Philly won the Super Bowl. He's not that far removed from it, but it feels like forever ago.
Yeah,
I mean, it almost feels like it didn't even happen.
Right. Like and subscribe, like Stream Elements bot says. Okay. Yes. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Next question.
Second question from Olamide. Any concern that the Ravens wide receivers weren't able to get clear separation for most of the game? I would say I don't have any concern about the Ravens wide receivers. They had, 19 pass attempts?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even say it was. Now, I mean, granted, obviously they called more pass plays than that. Lamar ran on some of those. He was sacked on a few plays as well. But, it wasn't even really a big enough sample to say, hey, nobody's out here getting open. Zay Flowers obviously was. But the reason that I say I'm not concerned moving forward is because we know what Odell can do when he's healthy. We know he gets separation. You know what kind of receiver Odell Beckham is. And even Rashad Bateman, we know that he can get open. His issues came when he was trying to get his hands on the ball and keep the ball right there. He had some drop issues particularly in his second season. Nelson Aguilar too. I mean, he's a guy you've seen be a productive receiver in the league. So I'm not concerned. Like I said, for the Ravens, I kind of write off week 1, honestly.
Also, we're playing a really good defense.
Yeah, they were playing a good defense, and they weren't ready to go.
No,
I think that you're going to see a much much, much better offense from the Ravens moving forward. And look, that may not even start this week because of the injuries to the O-line. But you gotta remember, it's only 2 weeks. It's a 17 game season. But very soon, I think you're going to see an explosive offense out of Baltimore. Not concerned about the wide receivers.
No, I agree, and I think I'm more concerned about the play calling. Right, I'm not 100% in on our guy yet, on our OC, right, on Monken, not yet. He's saying the right things, kind of like how the preseason went. We got some spacing out there, but what's he going to do in real games? The first game, I didn't think it looked great, but there's some protection issues there, execution issues. That stuff I expect for them to get cleaned up, and if they do, when they do, yeah, you'll start to see those wide receivers get more separation. And again, what we're saying, them not getting separation, they didn't really have time to do that, right? Because Houston blitzed a lot, and we didn't pick up any blitzes from what I saw. So, you need a little bit more time for them to show what they can do out there. But like I said, week 1, not worried about it. It's too early to panic.
Yeah. So those are the questions we had for this week. Partially my fault. I put up that post today. Thank you to Jeremy and Olamide. I will put it up right after the show this week, so people can get their questions in if they would like to.
Also, I want to mention that these are for points. You get points if we read your questions on air. Real quick, go over how people can get points.
Really, it's any way that you interact with the show. Just being here for the live stream gets you points. Talking in the chat gets you points. Submitting questions gets you points. Donating to the show gets you points. Subscribing, becoming a patron, signing up for the newsletter. We have a trivia question later on in the show that'll get you a lot of points as well. But yeah, it's really commenting on any videos that we upload will get you points. So it's interacting with the channel any way that you can. That's how Jeremy ended up winning the $25 Amazon gift card. Jeremy puts in the work, submitting those questions and everything. So thank you very much, Jeremy. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much anything to interact with the show will get you some amount of points.
All right, there you go. And a good way to get some quick points, 2 good ways. Patreon.com/LBHT Show. All right. That's how you can support the show, become a member. We have all kinds of perks there. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But one of the perks is you get access to our overtime show, which happens right after this show. All right. And what are we talking about on tonight's overtime show? Oh, Jim Trotter is looking at Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones trying to look away from him. He's like, man, I hope he doesn't see me. Jim Trotter has a lawsuit against the NFL, and he named Jerry Jones as one of the reasons for his lawsuit. And Jerry Jones and was it the Giants owner that had
the Bills
owner?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he has some things to say about the blacks. Oh man, we are going to discuss it. We're going to discuss it on the overtime show. All right.
You know what, Jay? If you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat, and we'll answer it. All right, that's on
yes.
Me. So you can go ahead if you have a question, you can go ahead and submit it right now.
Yes, yeah. We'll read it. Okay,
just this once. Yeah, 10 seconds. Type fast.
All right, we'll give you a little time to do that. I'll read a couple of comments in the meantime. He says, "Nice."
You used all 10 of your seconds to type that, bro.
Will G says we have to get Lamar to check out of a no protection pass when both safeties go to the gap, showing blitz, sending more than you can block. Yeah, but is that the game plan? That's the thing. What did they practice? Right. I hear you, but I just don't know what Todd Monken is coaching them up to do right now. But yeah, there's a lot of things that they have to work on.
And part of that is on Lamar too. Like you just have to get rid of the ball. Like, look,
yes,
I kind of made a joke about Bryce Young not being afraid to throw the ball away in his first start because he was 20 for 38 with a lot of passes that he just sailed out of bounds. But some of those plays, they snapped the ball. He looked around and he said, "This this ain't working. And he just launched the ball out of bounds. So, I know Lamar doesn't like to give up on plays. He's always trying to make a big play, but sometimes you just have to give up on a play. You see a lot with quarterbacks too. Sometimes you just got to lay down and take a sack, right? Sometimes you just got to throw the ball away. So you get yourself in trouble sometimes when you try to force something that isn't there.
Warbone, please don't be that guy. He says he don't understand Jerry Jones talking about Jim Trotter. Warbone is a diehard Cowboys fan. Do not let your fandom blind you to what's right in front of you. We all understand Jerry Jones. Okay, we know what time it is with Jerry Jones. Cowboys fans just want to turn, just turn a blind eye to what's right in front of them. Okay, you know what time it is with him. All right, we showed that old picture of him at school with the black kid going to school, and him and his buddy Biff and all the other all the other races that were taunting the kid. We know what it is. Okay, you don't need to defend that. Okay, you can still be a fan of your team. Don't defend racists like that.
Yeah.
All
right. Jay got a question here.
Bruno, I gotta say what's up to Bruno.
What up, Bruno? We're gonna read that one in a second.
Okay.
See, Jay, you burned your question. We were about to talk about that anyway. I'm telling you. Jay said, "How do you feel about the NBA voting to not allow superstars to load management?" We're gonna talk about that in a minute, Jay. I mean, sorry, you had a shot. You blew it.
Give us some points. That's a good thing.
I'm gonna give you the points. I'm just saying we're gonna talk about that in a minute. So I'm not gonna answer that right now. Bruno is here. He said, "Who's ended up with more total yards, Justice or Gus? Rough estimates on yardage."
Justice, I don't know, man. I don't know. Justice will end up with more yards. I don't think either one of them are going to get that many yards. I don't know. I would say about 500 for Justice and less than 500 for Gus.
I'm sorry. Hating ass Ravens fans, man.
What do you think is going to be?
1350 for Justice.
All right, I'm gonna say 1400 then.
I think. Look, I've long said that it doesn't really matter who the Ravens running back is because the threat of Lamar makes it easier for them, and I think that's going to continue. Like even when they had those guys back there who were no longer NFL players, Devontae Freeman, Kenyon Drake, they were still running over 4 yards a carry, right? So I think that you're still going to see a successful running game in Baltimore. I'm going to say this is all assuming that they don't make any kind of move and that Justice and Gus are the guys that they roll with, right? Because you know how John B with his doghouse and all that stuff. I'm going to say 750 for Justice, and I'm going to say actually probably about 750 for Gus as well. I think they split it pretty evenly, and I think they'll both be fairly effective. But there's, they're not stars or anything like that, but they'll put together an effective running game for Baltimore.
I would be very happy with that. If they both got around 700, I would be very happy with that. So, all right. NBA time.
NBA time.
Yes.
If I can find there it is.
The Kawhi Leonard rule. I wish I downloaded the Kawhi laugh.
But thank you so much for the question, Jay. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. So the NBA decided they're tired of load management and they're going to combat it. All right. What is the rule that they passed here? Because I think I should have called it the Kawhi and Paul George rule.
The NBA has approved a new policy. A team is unable to rest 2 star players in the same game moving forward. And just all kinds of problems with what constitutes a star player.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask. Like, what is the threshold for a star player? Is it contract? Is it points per game?
Somebody who made an all-star game once upon a time? Like, how do you even determine that? And maybe that's something that they've kind of worked out. I haven't seen their definition of star player. So if you have seen that, go ahead and put that in the chat. If you've seen how they're determining what a star player is,
I'm calling it Warbone. You can read. Don't. You can read. You know what it says. It says it right there. All right. you know exactly what it says. So this is look, German question already with a good point. Ben Simmons, right? So is Ben Simmons considered a star?
Right, and that's why I got to see what they're saying a star, because he's been an All-Pro before, not even just All-Star. He's been an All-Pro, and he has a massive contract, right? So it depends on how they are, how they're saying it. Danity over here being Danity, talking about I agree with the rule. Whatever, Danity.
I understand the spirit of the rule, but like B said, and to Jeremy's point, how do you enforce it? Who is considered a star player? Right? Who's considered a star? I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, right? Who's a star on that team? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how you determine how you like Mikal Bridges? So if Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, we want to sit those two out. Like, are we violating the rule? Right.
Right.
They're probably two of our best players on the team. Yeah, it's only for stars, Danity. It's only for stars.
Okay, so here I'm reading this from CBS Sports right now. So the rule is trying to prevent teams from sitting multiple stars in the same game sitting stars during nationally televised and in-season tournament games, and shutting down stars for extended stretches. But how exactly is the league determining who these star players are? Victor Wembanyama hasn't played an NBA game but certainly has star power. Aaron Gordon is not a go-to guy, but scored 27 points in a finals game 3 months ago and is unquestionably a star in his role. Are they subject to the new rules? It turns out the answer is no, but Jared Allen, Chris Paul, Mike Conley, Nikola Vucevic, and Ben Simmons, all of whom were ranked worse than number 70 in CBS Sports' recent top 100, are. The criteria is simple, and here it is. If you've been named to an all-star team or an all-NBA team in the previous 3 seasons, you're a star.
Ben Simmons was in an all-star team the previous 3 seasons?
Yeah. Again, people like to forget it was not that long ago that he was a great player. Not a good player. He was a great player. But, then the playoffs happened, and he decided not to play since then.
So, but see, okay, look, Ben Simmons. What can we do about Ben Simmons? If he decides, I don't want to go, but you're healthy. Yeah, I don't want to play though. Well, what do we do about that? And Mikal Bridges is already hurt.
And I hate this rule. I hate this rule because it's just another reminder that the actual competition is not the point, and it's not the most important thing. No. Because why are you telling teams how to run their team? Like there's Ben Simmons. He was an all-pro player within the last 3 years. So you're telling Brooklyn you can't bench Ben Simmons? What sense does that make? It makes no sense, right? Stop telling teams how to run their team.
That's a good question, though. So Mike Conley was an all-star 2 or 3 years ago?
Within the last 3 years.
So if we picked up Mike Conley,
mm-hmm.
and
you
just because
both of them
for rotational purposes, because they wouldn't make the rotation, right? Ben Simmons and Mike Conley are just on the bench. We get fined?
Apparently. I think it's bad. You don't want to get involved in telling teams how to run their team day to day.
Okay. Warbone didn't hear this whole thing that B read. Ben is considered a star player according to this rule. All right.
He is Warbone.
Stop typing in all caps.
Jesus Christ! I'm just gonna say it right now. It's one more time with the caps, and then you're just done.
No.
I'm tired. I'm tired.
Listen. Look, Warbone. I appreciate your participation. Type it in the Cash App. Type it in the Cash App.
Does your computer mute while you type?
And it's not for prime time only. You didn't listen. Go back, rewind this.
Does it mute the show while you're typing questions, bro?
Yeah. Your connection is a little janky. That's all it is. You didn't hear anything B just said. Will G says my solution is if you rest the key star players, ticket prices get cut 50% for that game. But that's the thing. What if the legit hurt?
Well, it doesn't apply to actual injuries, but all this is going to lead to is teams lying about injuries.
Yeah,
because and KP sent in a donation. Thank you very much. With that same question, what if players are actually hurt?
Thank you, KP.
It's not for players being injured. It's for resting players, right? Or hey, we're going to shut this guy down. Tanking at the end of the season and things like that. But you
What
can't
if
release that.
What if they're old?
Right.
like Popovich put down for Tim Duncan
Tim
one
Duncan
game.
OLD. But that's the thing. Like, what if you just don't want to play?
Yeah.
Like for and it doesn't matter what the reason is. Look, you might say, hey, I'm buying this ticket to go and see LeBron, or I'm buying this ticket to go see apparently Ben Simmons. But that's not what your ticket says. Your ticket says you're going to see the Brooklyn Nets. The ticket says you're going to see the LA Lakers. What about hey, how about this? How about if I buy a ticket and the team trades somebody, then I get a refund? Because hey, I was going to see Austin Reeves, and now he plays for the Bulls, right? Like, you're buying a ticket to see the team. If you show up that night and the player you wanted to see play isn't playing, it sucks, but it happens.
I think Will G would agree with that, though. I think he'd be for it. If you trade a star player half off on tickets, that's not what we paid our. If you are a season ticket holder and you came to watch your star player, you came to watch Giannis, and Giannis gets traded, half off. We refund you half. I think that's fair. Great idea, Will G.
And as you brought up with Ben Simmons, do you get fined if a player refuses to play?
Right. Or they just fall off.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that happens. Like, okay, players play well 1 year.
I'm sorry, Jay. It was the first name that popped into my head. I knew you wouldn't like that. I'm sorry.
He said, whoa. Don't put that into the universe, Brodny.
I apologize, Jay. I was gonna say LeBron. I was like, they're not gonna trade LeBron, and then it was whatever.
But if you get 2 star players on your, or all-star players, according to this, they played an all-star in the last 2 years on your team, but their players falling off this year, and you just don't want to start them. They're not as good as the other 5 in front of them. You get punished for that?
Yeah. Look, don't make rules that governs how the teams run their team in terms of who's playing and who's not playing. Just stop.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to do the other story, or do we want to say that for overtime?
Which other story are you talking about?
You mentioned his name. LeBron James. The Olympics.
Oh, I was like, what LeBron story? Yeah, we can talk about that. For those of you who may not know, the Team USA and Team Canada, I want to say, because Zaul was in here making bold proclamations about what that title game was going to be, but both of them face planted in the FIBA World Cup. They lost in the semifinal round, so no gold medals for them. And seeing that, the actual best players in the league, because they didn't go to the World Cup, all got together and said, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and play in the Olympics in 2024 and bring the gold home.
Yeah. So look, how do you guys feel? I mean, when the dream team was assembled, I was like, cool, get to see Jordan and Magic and Barkley, all them, all together. And it was cool, like the first couple of games that they just completely obliterated, Yugoslavia and all these other countries, right? But then it got boring real quick. Then it was just like, this is not what I was looking forward to, and I just didn't like the idea of NBA's best playing in the Olympics. It really served no challenge. I mean, it's more of a challenge now because you got great players all over the country, but I just don't think a team with LeBron, Steph, whoever else you put on there, I just can't see anybody in the world beating them. And let's just be real about it. We don't really care about gold medals, which is why this whole argument of world champions and all this stuff is ridiculous. Like, the world champions are whatever NBA team wins it. I don't care if it's called the National Basketball League. I don't care if it's based in the United States. It's the world's greatest players. We know where the world's greatest players are. It is not in FIBA. It's not in the Olympics. It's right here in the NBA. That's all I care about. I don't care how Who cares about how many gold medals LeBron has, Jordan has, Kobe? You know, like we don't care about that stuff. That's not how we judge greatness.
No, it's not. But I think it does still matter. The problem is for Americans, we just expect them to win gold, and you don't want to watch it because the games, typically aren't that entertaining. I mean, sometimes they are because like Will G says, the world is catching up to the U.S., but they're not caught up. The gap is closer. But you expect the U.S. to win gold, and so when they don't win gold, then it's a big deal, right? That's why Carmelo had a lot of fans just based off of that, being that guy who was always representing the U.S. and winning multiple gold medals. It's a big deal, right? Yeah. But it's also kind of not. Like I said, you know that if the best players went every time, the U.S. would win every time. And
if Melo had 10 gold medals,
yeah,
it was and could trade those in for one NBA championship ring, what do you think he would do?
I think he'd be wearing that ring. Yeah, but it does still matter. It's just that I think that fans would rather see, despite this being the world championship, I think fans would rather see players on their team rest during the summer and get ready for the NBA season and winning an NBA title, as opposed to helping their country, US or whatever country, try and win a gold medal at the Olympics or at the FIBA World Cup.
Yeah,
the NBA title is the title that matters.
Yes, absolutely. Jeremy says NBA already has a Canada team that won a title. Yeah,
they sure do.
Absolutely. See, world champs. Will G says, good point, Jose. It's simple. Players get scouted to come to the NBA to get a shot to play in the NBA. You go to other leagues when you get cut from the NBA. Yeah. I haven't seen like a truly great player. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't seen just one of the best in the world say, nah, I'm not going to the NBA. I'm staying right here in this league.
No. And you won't see that. Occasionally you'll see good players leave the NBA to go, either home or just to go play overseas. I mean, even Josh Childress left the NBA when he had options to sign in the NBA, and he went overseas and probably made more money there. And you've seen, guys, leave to go back home to play for their last, few seasons or whatever it is. But again, everyone knows that the best competition in the world is in the NBA. And again, that's not even just an American thing. Like I said, right now, today, you can argue the three best players in the league are all foreign.
No,
it is a world league. The best players in the world come to play in the NBA. The teams just happen to be in the U.S.
Yeah,
and Canada, Jeremy.
Yes, America.
Although America, not anymore though. That's trash.
All right, Combat Corner time.
Combat Corner time.
Look, I want to make this quick. One, because I don't like talking about when my boy Izzy loses. Two, I just don't care that much.
It's just time to go. Also, Combat Corner, UFC 293. 293 was this past weekend. Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. Everybody kind of thought this was going to be Duplessis. He didn't want the he didn't want the fight allegedly.
Wait. I just realized that's not the same guy.
No, it's not the same guy.
Who's Sean Strickland?
Sean Strickland is just some dude.
He's not the California guy. He was he like a replacement fight?
Not a replacement fight. Like they didn't make a fight with Duplessis. Allegedly, he didn't want the fight, and so they were looking for someone for Adesanya to fight. And from the stories, the UFC didn't even want to have the UFC didn't even want to have Sean Strickland in this fight because they didn't think he really had a shot in this fight. But eventually that's the fight that got made. He went in there and he put it on Adesanya. I could say that Adesanya looked disinterested, and I think he was a little bit. And I said too, he looked like he was a little bit old, a little bit slow. That's just kind of how he looked during the fight. He looked like he kind of gassed out before the end of the fight. He wasn't being anywhere near as aggressive as he needed to be late in the fight, considering how the rounds were going. but Sean Strickland caught him in round 1 and put him down and nearly knocked him out. Strickland fought a great fight. He kept the pressure on Adesanya for 5 straight rounds, and which normally is a recipe for disaster against Adesanya, right? He's a masterful counterpuncher or counter striker, I guess I should say. But Sean Strickland had incredible defense as well, and Izzy couldn't really hit him. So he was able to come forward, but he wasn't coming forward recklessly. He was picking his shots. He was blocking or evading all of Izzy's attempts for the most part. And he was landing clean, hard punches. Izzy, he was bleeding from the nose. He had swelling and everything. I mean, he got beat up a bit. And Strickland won. It was 4-1 on all 3 cards.
Yeah. It wasn't a close fight. And I think, I don't think Adesanya took that fight seriously. I ain't take it seriously. And I think it's funny, though. I think it's funny. When we talk about UFC or MMA versus boxing comparisons, right? But anytime.
Oh, no, Warble, I'm not going to block you for real.
No, man.
He's behind.
Oh, and it is slow. Oh, yeah. He'll catch up.
Sorry,
but and I'm gonna get to your comment in a second, sure. But anytime a fighter does great, there's always a boxing comparison because they're comparing him to Mayweather because he had his hands across his chest, like he's doing the Philly shell. No, that's not what he was doing. That's not what he was doing. Right. That's a little jab. That's just a little jabbish. But yes, it's always funny how when a fighter in MMA learns some basic boxing techniques, they do a masterful job in the octagon all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden they're like, oh, he's unstoppable. Usman learned how to jab. He was knocking people out.
The first person I saw learn how to throw, and granted, I haven't been watching UFC from the beginning, but it was George St. Pierre.
Yes.
When he fought Josh Koscheck, they were on the Ultimate Fighter, and he learned how to throw a jab. And he
jabbed the hell out of him.
He broke man's face up for 5 rounds. Josh Koscheck had no idea what to do.
I know. Our guy Suge Knight 323. Make sure you subscribe to Suge Knight 323 as well. He does a show every Tuesday with B. Okay, the Steel Conspiracy. How many of you guys know what conspiracy is? Don't start laughing. I'm
laughing at this other comment. I'm sorry.
he said it was white bread shell. A conspiracy is a flock of ravens. It's a group of ravens. A conspiracy or unkindness. So the Steel Conspiracy with Suge Knight 323, who is a Steelers fan, and Brodny, who is a Panthers fan, makes absolutely no sense.
That's where the conspiracy comes in as well.
But they talk Ravens. They talk
on multiple levels.
They talk Ravens and Steelers on that show every Tuesday night. So go and subscribe. And Panthers, yes, and Panthers, right? And a little Stardew Valley. Let's go.
Well, not Stardew Valley anymore. It's SDV talk.
Stardew Valley talk.
It's Starfield now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We got to change that segment up. Suge says, I hate to agree with Jose. PFL might take over UFC. Yes, PFL is the league that is also on ESPN that is partly owned by the Saudis now. We did we do that on the Overtime show? We talked about how that they bought into this league, and I think that's something that UFC needs to look out for. That league can start stealing some star fighters away from UFC, and right now UFC, I think they're down. Right? I don't have the numbers in front of me, but well, nobody has the numbers because they don't never tell you when they're doing bad, but I don't think they're doing that great pay-per-view wise. I know people will say, oh, the gate was this much. They sold tickets for this many. It had, 2 million views on YouTube. This highlight, that's not a good indicator of anything. So I think, I just don't think it's going great. And PFL can absolutely steal some of these fighters because they're not paying their fighters anything.
And to Suge's point, which he made on the show yesterday, there's talk. There's a bit of a, I guess, maybe I shouldn't say campaign, but there's talk Cormier said it right after the fight, and apparently Brendan Schaub said it on his show as well, that Adesanya shouldn't get an immediate rematch. He got one after Pereira, but he shouldn't get one after this fight, which is ridiculous. He's the champion. If he wants the rematch, he gets a rematch. Yeah. And I made a point, that you see this, not even just in UFC, but you see it in boxing as well, where if you have a great champion like that, sometimes they'll look past guys. And and that can lead to upsets. Roy Jones and Montel Griffin. Although that wasn't entirely just Roy looking past him. They ended up with a disqualification in that one. But
to your point, like, you don't realize Montel Griffin was kind of giving him a little work before that.
Yeah. And then you get the rematch and he murdered Montel Griffin.
Yes,
because then you get the attention of a great fighter, and you don't want the attention of a great fighter. That's not how you won that first fight, right? Not saying that will happen in this scenario, but if Adesanya wants that rematch and he wants the chance to avenge that loss, you absolutely give it to him. You have to.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. But UFC, man, they have to do a better job of cultivating their stars and making these fights interesting. Just do a better job all around. I don't like how they do the fight selection. I don't like how often they make fighters fight. I don't like how they don't develop these guys and develop crowd interest, because we're big Izzy Adesanya fans, but shoot, I ain't paying for that. No. And I don't know how many people are paying for that pay-per-view, right? The card was terrible. And that is rare. That is very rare that I say a UFC card is terrible, right? As much as I dislike Dana White and some of the things that go on in the UFC, they almost always put on a good card, right? Mm-hmm. Even if the title fight isn't that great, they usually give you about 4 or 5 fights.
It's five fights on the main card, then they have the prelims, and then they have the early prelims. So it's an all-day affair.
Yeah, those 5 fights are usually, you get at least 3 of them that are on point. Even if you're not a fan of the main card, usually there's some fights on there. You're like, oh, okay, that's entertaining.
Well, look, I didn't watch the whole card, right? And from what I understand, there were some entertaining fights, but the issue is it can't just be entertaining. People have to want to watch it. Yeah. Because it being entertaining and a lot of people having skipped it doesn't do you any good. Right, people have to be interested in the fights that you're making. Now, you're always going to get some interesting fights, some entertaining fights, because the UFC has a lot of talent. We know the styles make fights. You put these fights together, you can manufacture some fireworks in some cases, but people have to want to watch it. If you're telling me, hey, it's Adesanya and Strickland as the main event, I'm like, I got no interest in that. Like I said, even as an Adesanya fan who assumed he would win and possibly win by knockout, I had no interest in that. And then you look at the co-main, it was Volkov versus Tai Tuivasa. I love Tai Tuivasa. Love him. Super
not as a co-main, though.
No, super entertaining fighter, right? He's, if you don't know who he is, he's the guy who does the shoe. He drinks a beer out of his shoe whenever he wins a fight. He's a heavyweight, super strong, and his fights are usually on the shorter end, and somebody doesn't end the fight on their feet, right? Yeah, I don't want to see that as a co-main, and I don't want to see him fight talented fighters, because he's not going to win. He's going to get knocked out, right? And listen, watching a fight where Tai Tuivasa gets knocked out is bringing me down. That's not what I want to see. I want to see the shoey, right? Understand who you have. It's like what's his name? Game Bread.
Masvidal.
Yeah. He's a very popular guy, right? And people want to watch him win fights. So don't put him in with good fighters.
Right.
What are you doing?
Right. You gave him the BMF belt for that reason, right? It's like the $1 million belt back in the day. Ted DiBiase wasn't fighting. He wasn't wrestling for the heavyweight championship of the world. He was wrestling for the $1 million belt. Yeah. Okay. Right. Against Coco Beware.
That's right.
All right. Because and shout out to Coco Beware. I hate how they stifled his career. But that's what the Brooklyn Brawler. Those are the guys that he was. Yeah, those are the guys that he was. Well, Virgil was his assistant. I didn't like that either.
But he turned on him at one point, though.
He did. I didn't like that one. But those are the caliber fighters that you should have been having Masvidal. And we're not Masvidal fans. No. But those are the caliber fighters you should have been having Masvidal fight, so you can keep his popularity up. But ever since the 2-second to 3-second knockout that made him popular. Well, he won one match. He beat one of Diaz brothers, right?
Yeah, Nate.
That's where he got the BMF belt. Since he won that BMF belt, he hadn't won since. He hadn't won since because you keep trying to put him in there with guys that are way more talented than him, way out of his league. Yeah. Right? He was a journeyman his whole life. And just because he got popular, you want to make him a star. All right, you give him one shot at the belt. Okay, didn't go well. Give him another shot at the belt. He gets knocked out cold. That's it. That's it. Start putting him back with fighters at his level so you can sell some tickets. He can be entertaining. But no, you want to keep putting him in there with guys that are going to beat the brakes off of him.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're owned by the same company that WWE is owned by, and you got to take lessons from WWE. You have people who open your show, you have mid-carders, and you have main eventers.
Yeah.
And Masvidal is not a main eventer. Right?
Nope.
Tai Tuivasa is not a main eventer.
No.
So stop it.
All right. There's another comment I wanted to read in here that I agreed with. It was Enrod says there are no good guys in UFC versus PFL scenario. Hopefully the fighters get paid. Yeah, that's all I want to see.
Absolutely, and that's how the PFL can win that, because the Saudi playbook is we're just gonna give you a whole bunch more money than anybody else will give you,
and those fighters will say, okay,
yeah.
This is the one that Enrod put in. He said, I'm not sure Dana wouldn't be happy if they replace Izzy with Adesanya, or with Strickland, without Strickland. Yeah, I'm sure he's all good with Strickland being the guy, because he's a fanboy. He doesn't do things based off of common sense or what's good for the business. He just does things based off of who he likes, who he doesn't like, right? And we say it all the time. He doesn't like black fighters, right? He doesn't really particularly like any fighters of color, right? So I'm sure he loves Strickland being in that scenario, but I'm sure the actual owners of UFC don't like it.
So it's time to move on to the week 2 predictions. Did you get the actual schedule though?
You know what? I did not pull it up. I'm sorry. I'll pull it up real quick. I know I was forgetting something.
But yeah, no. With the UFC, it's a lot of wasted potential, really. I mean, not wasted, but they're not reaching their full potential, I should say. So many really, really talented fighters, so many guys in there who work so hard at their craft, and they're just not getting the attention they deserve for it. They're not getting certainly the payment they deserve for it, and they're not even getting the benefits that they deserve being in a sport as violent as mixed martial arts. Hopefully, for at least some of those guys, they'll be able to make the jump to PFL and get paid more than what the UFC is giving them, or even to one fighting championship, ONE FC. They're in the US now. They're starting to have shows here, so they're trying to expand their footprint. If you haven't watched ONE FC, they put on a very entertaining show as well. The fights a lot of times are lopsided because their roster is not great top to bottom. They do have some legit stars in ONE FC. And the way they put on their show, they'll also, they kind of mix up the match types. They'll have, straight MMA fights. They'll have just grappling matches. They'll have Muay Thai fights. So you're not seeing the same fight over and over. So it's a very entertaining thing.
Yeah. Dandy says he doesn't like black fighters. I'm on the Saudi side. Hey, I hear you on that. All right, I got the schedule up here. Let's bring this background back. Okay, it's time for week 2 predictions. Listen, guys.
Rapid fire.
Hashtag rapid fire. All right. We're going to make our predictions real quick. We'll give you score predictions for the Ravens game and the Panthers game. If you want to follow along, type fast. Type it in the chat. I'll bring them up on screen. All right, we're going fast. Are you ready? Let's go.
First up, Thursday night, Minnesota at Philadelphia. Kenneth Gainwell looks like he's going to be out for this game. Doesn't matter. Minnesota sucks. Taking Philly.
Yeah, I got Philly easy.
Green Bay at Atlanta. Jordan Love he showed pretty well in I guess it was his second start, but his first start as the man in Green Bay. I think they keep it rolling and beat Atlanta.
Same here, Green Bay.
Vegas at Buffalo, as entertaining as it was to watch Josh Allen flame out, they're going to beat the brakes off of the Raiders.
Yeah, I got Buffalo.
Then we got Baltimore at Cincinnati, the 1:00 game on Sunday. It's trending towards Stanley, and Linderbaum maybe not playing. I think it's going to make it a struggle, but I am still picking Baltimore. I think that it's going to be a kind of a 28-24 type of game.
Oh, Hendo's got Cincinnati. Okay. Bucks got Cincinnati. Danity says Baltimore.
That's right, Danity.
Yep, I got Baltimore. I think we win by a 2-score game. I'm going to say 30-20.
Okay. Next up, Seattle at Detroit. Seattle caught a bit of a beating from the Rams. And, we know that Detroit won the first game of the season over Kansas City in an upset. I think they keep it rolling. I'm taking Detroit over Seattle.
I'm going Seattle.
LA Chargers at Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill is not it. Justin Herbert is it. Gonna take the Chargers.
Yep, got the Chargers.
Chicago at Tampa Bay. I'm taking Chicago. I don't even want to talk about Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I got Chicago, man. If Tampa Bay wins another game, what are they doing?
If Tampa Bay wins another game, their own front office gonna riot. Kansas City at Jacksonville. I think Kansas City wins pretty easily.
Yeah, Kansas City.
We got the Colts at Houston.
I don't think it's gonna be easy though.
I already said it. Colts and Houston, a battle of the two of the three rookie starting quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson, who looked very good in his debut, versus CJ Stroud, who looked pretty decent, but obviously he had his struggles. I think that the Colts are just a better team, and I'm taking Indy on the road.
I got Houston.
Okay. San Francisco at the Rams. Rams are not going to replicate that week 1 magic. San Francisco is going to put another beating on their opponent this week.
This is where I have to pull our OTR mic and say, not so fast, my friends. Okay, I'm going with LA Rams in an upset at home. This is a division rivalry game. I'm going Rams.
Okay. Giants at Arizona. And I've noticed I'm picking a lot of road teams here, but it's not going to stop on this one. Taking the Giants.
Oh, Giants look so bad.
Yeah, but Arizona is so bad.
Yeah, they're committing to it. I'm going Giants.
Next up, we've got Zach Wilson against the Dallas Cowboys, and for that reason, I am taking the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Cowboys.
I mean, honestly, I would have taken the Cowboys even if Aaron was playing too, but
I don't know. That would have been tough.
Washington at Denver. Washington squeaked out a win over the Cardinals in week 1. I think they get got this week at Mile High. Taking Denver.
I'm taking Denver too, man. Washington, I thought they were gonna look better than that.
Yeah, it was disappointing. But again, week 1, we'll see. Miami at New England. Tua and Tyreek they're just going bombs away on the Patriots. Miami easy.
Yeah. I got Miami. The Patriots might finish last in that division.
Zach Wilson got something to say about that. New Orleans at Carolina. I'm taking Carolina. I think they put on a much better performance than they did last week, and I don't think Derek Carr can get it done.
Score.
I'm going to say that this one is 24-17, and Carolina gets a defensive touchdown.
I'm going 2017 Carolina.
Last game of the week, Cleveland, who put a beating on Cincinnati, which should have been the story of week 1, at Pittsburgh, who, they probably want to forget what happened to them in week 1. But I think that Pittsburgh bounces back, and I think that they get their offense on track. I think they get a win at home on Monday night.
I'm going to go Cleveland. All the teams that can start out in a hole is Pittsburgh, right? Whatever's going on with them, they haven't figured it out yet, but they will. They always do. But right now, they ain't got it. I'm going to go Cleveland. All right.
Yeah, and that is it.
That is it. That was fairly fast.
It was fast because we keep our word.
Yes.
It's never not been rapid fire.
And now we're just round the corner now. We're down that stretch. But before we do trivia, right? Just want to remind everybody, we're going to be doing the overtime show here pretty soon. Okay. And where can you find the overtime show? Right there, patreon.com/LBHT Show. If you have as little as $5 in your pocket, do you have $5 in your pocket? I think you do. All right. You can be a part of the overtime show. You can be a member of our Patreon, which we give you all kinds of perks. B, just tell them real quick, rapid fire style. What do they get for signing up for Patreon? We got a few tiers here. Explain the tiers real quick.
We got the $5 tier that'll get you into our weekly Pick'em League, our NFL Pick'em League, where we give away a custom LBHT trophy. We've got the $10 tier that'll get you the LBHT crew coin that Jose has there, as well as entrance into our fantasy football league. We have a dynasty league going on right now, as well as a redraft league. And if there's enough interest, we'll start up another league as well. We have the $20 tier, which is a combined tier. Yes, that is that was last year's belt. Went out to Buck for winning the inaugural season. We're going to be upgrading the belt this year. We'll have pictures of that as soon as we get it in the mail. We have the $20 tier, which is a combined tier for this show, as well as our boxing podcast, Ring Kings podcast. And then we have also the $60 tier, which is the creator tier for anybody who is thinking about starting a YouTube channel or a podcast, or maybe you've started one recently and you need some, some advice or, support. We'll give a kind of a consultation with us, with OTR Mike, and with Hendo from the Rogue Pod. And just kind of help you go over like community building, content strategy, branding, that kind of thing, and help you try to avoid some of the common pitfalls of new YouTubers.
All right, there you go. And Shook says, Jose, how do you feel about losing to me in week 1? It was a very, very Kansas City Chiefs type of week. I'm not worried about it. Okay,
you want to know something funny? He didn't even know he was playing you.
He just his lineup. He's just like, whatever.
He read it and he was like, no, I don't know. I played somebody named Zay. I don't know. I was like, that's Jose. He's like, no, that's not Jose. Look, it says Raven ZEY. What is that? I don't know. Like, that's Jose. And then he looked at your avatar. He said, who is Avon Barksdale? And I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh Lord, I love fantasy football. Listen.
Yes, it's the Pick'em League. The link is in the Discord if you want to join. I mean, obviously you missed week 1, but you can jump in. And honestly, you can still win it because we're pretty bad at Pick'em.
Usually my background won't show the whole Raven shirt, but that's it right there. That's the Raven City shirt. People love that. That's a popular item on our store. That beanie that B's wearing, winter's coming back around. Okay, that is a comfortable beanie. All right. Yes. We got that and much more on our store. LBHTShow.com/shop is where you can find this stuff. Okay. We have a lot of things on there. So go over there and check it out. Okay. All right. Trivia time. And let's get out of here.
Yes. Trivia time indeed. Let me try and remember the question. So yes, we all like to kind of laugh at Joe Burrow for throwing it for 82 yards in week 1 right after signing the biggest contract in NFL history, because it was funny. And I encourage you all to laugh at him, even when he comes back and plays well, which he's going to do because he's Joe Burrow. But just, don't ever let him forget it. Just like Kobe and Jalen and 81, right? It's a forever thing now. But it made me think, hey, who holds the record as a team because the Bengals, by the way, did not throw for 82 yards. They subtract the sack yards. They threw for about 67.
Jeez.
Who holds the record for the fewest passing yards in an NFL game?
Wow.
And you know what? Bonus points if you can tell me how many yards they had.
Passing yards.
Passing yards. Yes, I'm sorry.
Can I ask if it's a regular season game?
It was a regular season game. Will G, I don't even know what a George Rotterman is. But I said the team.
Sheesh. I don't know. I was going to say the Ravens in the playoffs when they played the Patriots, because I don't think that's Flacco's rookie year. I think he might have had like 5 pass attempts in that game. Okay, we got a few answers in here.
We're still getting a lot of individuals. Again, team,
not player, team. Malik B said Aaron Rodgers. Now, if it was individuals, you say yeah, because he played 4 snaps the other day. But teams, do we see any right answers in there, B?
I do.
Okay. Do we have 3 yet? No. Okay. The first 3 to get it right get points. How many points did they get?
The first person to get it right gets 1,000 points. The second person gets 750, and the third person gets 500.
All right.
And again, 1,000-point bonus if you can tell me the number of yards.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Well, G says George Radaman has the fewest passing yards by a quarterback in a game with minus 12 yards versus the Packers on September 27th, 1953. Yeah, but the question was, what team? Is that right? Is that right? He had minus 12. Well, how much did the team have, George? He might have had minus 12 yards passing. Yeah. Did another quarterback come in there and throw for more yards? That's the question. He says Cleveland. All right. Do we have our 3?
We don't have 3 yet. I'm trying to look up where that Green Bay team finished. It says 1953.
No. Cleveland is the team. He said they're playing the Packers.
Oh, playing against the Packers. Gotcha.
Yeah.
1950. I don't see them on this list. They had a game in 1950 where they made this list, but it sounds like somebody else must have come in and
cleaned it up a little bit.
Yeah, tidied it up for them. We'll give it another maybe 30 seconds. Okay, well, actually, no, we have 3 now.
All right, we got 3.
The answer is the Tennessee Titans with negative 7 yards versus the Patriots, October 18th, 2009.
All right.
So congrats. Coach Evans got it first, and then he actually got the negative 7 here as well. Good job Googling there, Coach. And then we got Danity and Bazel with Titans as well. So I'll go ahead and update those points now. Thank you very much.
All right. Is that the only? That's the one trivia question? Or you had another one?
No, that's it.
That's it.
Okay.
We
only do one a week.
That's right. All right. That's it for trivia time. We'll give you about 3 or 4 minutes of bonus time. Okay. Then we're off to the overtime show. And what are we talking about on the overtime show? Jim Trotter. He's about to burn up some of the NFL's money. Okay. One way or another. He's taking them to court. He is suing them. All right. What's the lawsuit? Discrimination. Some other unlawful practices that the NFL definitely did. Jerry Jones is on that thumbnail because listen, cover your ears, Warbone. Jerry Jones, he says some things about the blacks that Warbone thinks is just misunderstood. They're not misunderstood. We understand that very well. The Bills owner as well said some misunderstood comments, I guess, right? We're going to break down that lawsuit. He said, point me in the right direction. Yes. Yes. We're going to talk about that. We'll talk about this new preseason as well. We'll talk about the new preseason week 1 of the NFL. What's wrong, B?
Just Danity, just causing problems all the time, man. Like
what
I'm over here, and in the list, the points list, I got to type in the name, the YouTube name, so it'll pop up, and I can add the points like that. Otherwise, I have to go through several pages of usernames because it'll just list everybody who has points. Danity 101 is not Danity 101. I typed it in, it's not popping up. I'm like, what's going on? I'm trying to I'm spelling it different ways. It's 101. Why you like this, Danity? Why are you making things difficult for me?
She got to keep you on your toes. Okay. She got to keep you on your toes. All right. Let's see what we got here. Jay says, I can feel the racism coming from Jerry Jones. Yeah, we all can. We can see it. Okay. Zaul says, we got to do a soccer or baseball. Listen, Zaul, you come on. We like you. We don't do baseball on here. The only time you hear us do baseball is if there's a scandal. Okay?
I'll do a baseball story for you. Baseball sucks. End of story.
Listen, look. I'm not that hard. I'm not going to be harsh on baseball. If you like baseball, you like baseball, right?
Yeah, people
we don't
like
baseball. We don't do baseball here. But when we do cover baseball, you guys love those stories, right? They're always juicy stories, right? But other than that, I don't want to talk baseball. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Will G says Jerry Jones is Biden of the NFL world. He adapted because the world changed. Yeah. I think he's worse.
I don't know. Was Biden just an out and out racist at some point?
Listen, there's a lot of signs that point towards yes, he was a racist. His best friend was Strom Thurmond, who was a staunch racist. Yeah, right? He spearheaded the crime bill. Right.
Yeah, but all the black people agreed with that as well.
Not all the black people.
Not all, but I know. I mean, in government, they all kind of supported that at the time.
I don't rock with them either.
No, but I'm saying that in and of itself doesn't strike me as a racism thing, as opposed to everybody wants us to do something about crime. Let's do something and blah blah blah. And they did a bad thing.
I think calling Strom Thurmond one of your best friends.
No, that's not great. That's not great. not good at all.
What was the guy's name? His made up friend,
Corn Pop.
Corn Pop.
Hey, but that's the thing though. I was gonna bring that up, but we never got a color on Corn Pop. Corn Pop strikes me as a white dude, but because especially if he ran away from Joe Biden because he had a chain. But you know my opinion on Joe. Joe got where he's at by standing next to exceptional black people.
Facts.
So,
facts.
That much like I said with Greg Roman.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, that's it. We're wrapping it up. I see the word baseball in here way too many times. Okay. We can't go any further. No, it is the end of the show because we're almost at 2 hours. We don't do 2 hours over here.
Yeah.
All right. So come over to patreon.com/LBHT Show. All right. Sign up. You got $5. I know you do. I think the free trial is still going on too. You can do a little free trial. All right. But we're going to have a fun conversation. This is how overtime works. We have some topics. We go over the topics. And then a lot of times it kind of drifts off into whatever else we want to discuss for a little bit. It's a lot of fun, right? We try to get to some topics that we don't get to on the main show and just have a little fun. We might even talk some Starfield as well. All right. So come on over there.
Yeah.
All right.
Like a cool 250,000 creds.
Now, baseball is Will G's sport. I know that. I know you played at a high level, Will G. We're just not baseball fans, man. We're just not baseball fans, and that's why I want to be respectful of the sport because there's some people here that love baseball, and I know Coach played baseball in college as well, right? So there's some baseball players in here. So respect to y'all, but y'all don't want to hear baseball. That's you guys don't want to hear baseball, okay? You love playing a sport, you might watch it one day when you have enough time when you're folding clothes or doing laundry or whatever, right? But you don't come to a sports talk show to listen about baseball. All right. You don't pressure, skipping his friends over there, all of them, the new undisputed group. You don't ask Shannon and Stephen A to talk baseball. Okay. You don't ask any of those other sports shows to talk baseball. Don't pressure us into that.
You know why
we give you a baseball story.
You know why you do all your folding clothes and whatnot? because you don't want to watch something exciting that might distract you from your task.
Exactly. It keep you focused, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like listening to
every time
music.
you look up, you're like, let me Google how to fold this fitted sheet.
Even the crowd is calming.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's get out of here. B, are you ready?
I am ready.
B is ready. Patrons, get ready. The Overtime Show is starting in a couple of minutes. Everybody else, thank you so much. Another fun show. Okay, another fun show. We got football on tomorrow. We will not be live streaming tomorrow, but we will be live streaming Sunday, maybe Sunday, definitely Monday for the Panthers game. All right. So come through, Panthers fans. Be ready. All right. We don't do a lot of exclusive Panthers live streams. Monday's gonna be one of those shows. So come check it out. All right. Everybody have a great night, and we will see you next time. Peace.